All right. Hey, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here. So, we're doing a little bit of a different format today. So, we're going to see how this works out. But as you guys, I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but just the other day, we had a. Oh, okay. There it goes. Now it's starting to load everywhere. Hi, everybody. Marcus C. Williams here. And like I was saying, we're doing a new format here. So, we're going to see how it works out. But as you guys know, there's a lot of crime and violence that continues to go on and on and on and on and on in our city, especially my assembly district, which is the 137th Assembly District. So the other night, like we've had all of these shootings, murders, home invasions, all types of crazy stuff going on in my assembly district. So the other night, we had a 12-year-old boy killed, murdered, dead, shot, right? And we had another one that was 16, okay, that was shot. Fortunately, he did not die. He's in the hospital recovering. We'll see how that goes. But the fact of the matter is that the crime is absolutely out of control. Now, because the 12-year-old was shot, and I'd like to point out that age real quick, and we'll get right back on topic. 12 years old, right? So the state assembly has a bill right now that they're working on getting passed as soon as they open the new session, January 1st. And that bill will allow them to make it so that any 12-year-old or under will not be able to be charged with any type of a crime. Not one crime, not any crime. They could murder somebody and they cannot be charged if they're 12 or younger. But we see the continued growth of violence in the youth population. It's absolutely abhorrent. And the fact that they'd continue to go down this path is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what to tell you guys. You know, it's out of control. So right now, we've got another family grieving yet again because of violent crime in my not just our city, right? Because it's always in our city, right? But in my assembly district and literally right up the street. So if you guys ever follow me on some of the videos that I do, I walk over here all the time, right? Like this is where I live. As a matter of fact, it's ridiculous because I don't know if you can see behind me very far, but down there that's Clifton, and down there is where one of the drug houses was busted under Lovely's husband. You understand what I'm saying? It's a bit ridiculous what's going on in my neighborhood. Somebody asked, Ryan asked, was it gang related? And oh look, here goes the crime scene tape still here. So I don't know if it's gang related. Is it probably likely to do with some relation to drugs or gang activity? I'd say most likely. Very, very, very highly likely. Very highly likely. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. We'll find out, I'm sure, somewhere very, very, very far down the road. But right now, we're dealing with a serious amount of crime and violence, and our neighborhood is being held hostage. It's very, very sad to live in here in this community and to see the travesties that continue to occur on a daily basis. And this doesn't even cover the overdoses because somehow those don't get included in the crime. They don't. I feel bad for all of the people that are just here trying to live a normal life. And oh, let's see. Look, can you see it over my shoulder? Right over there is the visual spot that they set up a memorial for the person right over there. I saw it to you. Let's see. Can you see it? Let's see. Hold on. See right there? Right there is the memoriam. And this is this is what we see more and more of. More memorials, more monuments, more candles. How many more do we need? Right? How many more murders or deaths do we need until the state assembly does something about these laws? You say, well, Marcus, what does the state assembly have to do with it? And laws don't matter because criminals don't listen to laws. Oh, see, now criminals don't listen to laws. I agree with you there. But the fact of the matter is that it's not really about whether they listen to them or not. It's about the fact that we have them. So right now, the way that our laws are set up with bail reform, you can pretty much do most crimes and get out without bail. Same day. You know, you look at less is more, and less is more has all types of people getting off of what do you call it? Parole without any violations that they should be violated on and sent back. You get the other thing, you get raise the age, and raise the age plays right into this situation we saw right here on this street with this poor youth that lost their life. You know, it's really, really ridiculous. Raise the age basically says that older youth with more violent crimes can be housed with regular youth and not really punished at all. So they just go to a juvenile detention facility, even though they're really adults and not youth anymore. And even though they're extremely violent. So that's real serious when it comes to raise the age. And if you take that and you put it together with the other bill that I was talking about that's coming out of the state assembly next year, where you can't arrest a 12-year-old for anything, we're in a sad, sorry situation for the youth. Because look at this. Think about this way, right? They close down all the jails. They let everybody out of prison. And this is what they've been doing for the last 2-3 years. Okay? Now, criminals are out running the streets. But because you shut down the jails, you can't put anybody in the jails, right? Not really. So now you make laws that basically make it so people don't go to jail. And when you make laws that people don't go to jail, well, less people go to jail and more people are out on the street. Many of them that shouldn't be out here committing crime. And I don't like the concept of jail. I think we need comprehensive prison reform. But again, none of our elected assembly people or state senate people will even touch that concept. But we've been hard impacted by raise the age, less is more, the bail reform, and the discovery laws. They've been impacting us very greatly. My community, my neighborhood, and its younger and younger youth. I saw our people get up there, a couple pastors and who was it? Michael Patterson got up there on the news yesterday talking about, something needs to be done. They need to call for a dangerous standard. Yes, but we knew that. Where were you guys months, 2 years ago? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that I've been yelling about, screaming about from the top of my lungs, from the top of every building for the last 2 years. Plus, you know, specifically to these laws here, but it's ridiculous. So they get there, they do the press conference, then the mayor gets on the TV and demands that somebody comes out and tells us what's going on and who did it. What's going on and who did it? You done got on the TV and said, I demand that somebody gets out and tells us what's going on and who did it. With the discovery laws the way that they are? The discovery laws basically say that if you tell on somebody, they can give the person that you told on all their information, all your information, before the case even goes to trial. So these are serious requests. Like, you're requesting, first of all, you know, everybody knows that the snitches get stitches, right? That's the whole common concept, whether I agree with that or not. When it comes to violent crime, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I have no excuses. I harbor nothing but disdain for violent crime. It's a serious issue because the violent crime, especially what we've seen a lot of, is the open air crime, right? Like, we're not talking about stuff behind closed doors. We're not talking about stuff that's happening in the middle of the woods. We're talking about crime that's happening up and down the street that people live on. We're talking about crime that's making people concerned to get in their cars to go to work. We're talking about crime that makes people concerned to go to the store with their kids. It's absolutely crazy that people have to deal with this on a daily basis. Let me see. Somebody asked a question. Let's see. Ryan says, you think you could get a gang task force like they have in Detroit and hope they're carrying, brother? All the good people need to be. So Ryan brings up an important conversation, the Second Amendment. The state assembly has also been chipping away at the Second Amendment, making it more difficult for legal law-abiding citizens to be able to own firearms, while criminals can just buy all the guns that they want. Because, again, like we talked about earlier, criminals don't follow laws, right? So it's a bit out of control. And our ability to defend ourselves is very important since they push to defund the police, right? And where'd they take the police from? They didn't take it from the nicer neighborhoods. They took it from my neighborhood. You understand what I'm saying? They took it from my assembly district. We need the police. We want more police. Okay? And anybody that says otherwise is a damn liar or a fool criminal. I said what I said. So, as it goes with the Second Amendment, everybody needs to be able to defend themselves legally. Okay? If it was up to me, I'd say that Monroe County needs to be a constitutional carry county. But again, I digress. So Ryan also says, what about a gang task force? Now, could a gang task force work? Maybe. But right now, they've got stuff that they're trying to get done in the state where they erase all, get this. And I'm going to try to pull up the article later and post it on one of my pages. But they're trying to get it so that they can erase the New York State database of gangs. Yeah, that's a real thing. They want to erase the New York State database on gangs. So, boy, I don't know what good a gang task force would do there when we can't even identify what the gangs are on. That's a whole separate conversation. And in Rochester, we don't have gangs. What do they call them? They say I don't know what they call them, something else ridiculous, but they said that it's not gangs because their prime way that they make money is not by doing crime. So my question to everybody who said that before is, has that changed? Has that changed? Because pretty much all of the violent crimes that we've been seeing have originated largely back to drug trafficking and selling drugs and stuff like that. It's funny because, it seems that very often crime leads back to drugs, in New York State especially. It's very, very interesting, and it's sad too. But hey, I mean, if we could get the state assembly to pass stronger laws against drug trafficking and actually crack down on some of the drug trafficking or charge people with murder or attempted murder or assisted murder or whatever you want to call it for all of these people that are overdosing, I bet you that cleans up real quick if people start going to jail for it. I bet you that scene cleans up real quick. But these are the things that need to be talked about that aren't even part of the conversation. Like, with more drugs, with more violence, with more crime, how come nobody's looking at the drugs at all? You don't hear them talk about the drugs on the TV at all. Even when they do a big drug bust or something, it's on the news for one day, maybe a couple hours. But drugs impact family, friends. I've known more than a few people that overdosed and died this year. So it's very, very, very serious thing to me. I just get so frustrated with everything that's going on and nobody holding the state assembly accountable and nobody holding the state senate accountable. Now, for me, I know what they do, right? And I know a lot of people don't know what their jobs are, and maybe that's why. But people are mad at the mayor right now for things that are not the mayor, they're the state assembly or the state senate. And people are mad at city council for the same type of things, even though city council is this whole bag of worms that has more than a couple of reasons for people to be mad at them. But we got to make sure that we're focusing our thoughts and actions and energies on the right people who have the power to correct the issue. In this case, we're dealing with an issue where we have a deficit in law enforcement personnel, so they're not able to police the areas. But even if we did, we've got these stank laws. We got these stank laws that are all jacked up that are allowing people to get away with literally murder. So we need to make sure that we actually go to these people, go to your state assembly person, address it with them. How's it going? Address it with them. And then you make sure that you go to your state. Let's see, you got a governor, you got the assembly, and you got the state senate. Those are going to be the main people when it comes to laws. The assembly writes the laws, and so does the senate. And the governor signs the laws into activity. So these are the people that we have to make sure that we're addressing issues when it comes to actual laws with. But people don't address them with those issues. They go and they address other people, like the mayor or city council. But because of the lack of civics education and training, people don't know who to go actually interact with on that level. And we need to be encouraging that knowledge. We need to be expressing that knowledge to the people, to the populace, and to the community as a wider whole. Because if people don't know, and this is why a lot of people right now, especially you see with the murder of the 12-year-old, how could that not tug on your heartstrings, right? Like, you're like, oh man, so young, so much life ahead of them, you know? And you think, and you're just like, dang, how can we do something about it? Well, that's the good question. And the answer is, you got to hold the state assembly accountable. You got to look through these laws that are being passed. You got to read the laws that are being passed. Now, in theory, it's the job of our state assembly person to let us know what bills are being passed in the state assembly. It's the job of our state senators to let us know what bills are being passed in the state senate, and so forth. But we don't get any of that. They only come out to take photo ops and pictures and, oh, we just donated this money to these people. But what about all the dead bodies? What about the bodies that are piling up like burial mounds? You understand what I'm saying? What about the overdoses? Can we actually talk about these real issues and topics? I think that it's really, really notable that everybody had something to say after the 12-year-old was killed and the 16-year-old was shot. But we've had this issue this whole time, and nobody's holding the people accountable who are in charge of these things. And that's a very serious issue. Now, why doesn't the city council start naming names? Why didn't Michael Patterson get on the TV and start being like, and Jen Lunsford and Damon Meeks and who else we got? Sarah Clark. You know what I'm saying? And actually name the people in the assembly that have parts in which that they can take action to change these laws. But that wasn't said. Did anybody say anything about the senators? Did they say, oh, Samara, however you pronounce her last name, I always pronounce it wrong, Brooke, okay? How about Jeremy Cooney, okay? Is anybody calling these people out to say, hey, get off your buns and get something done? Ask me how I really feel. But this is the sad part. We continue to see these issues go on in our community and get worse and worse and worse, right? But there was just an election 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. Literally 15 days ago, there was an election. And 70% of the people that were registered to vote did not come out. 70% of the people that, I'm going to say it again because it is begs repeating, 70% of the people that are eligible to vote did not come out and vote. Now you explain that to me. Explain it to me. The crime, the violence, the destitution, the poverty, the gentrification, the issues, the everything, all of the issues. Okay, all of the issues that we have, and 70% of the people that were registered to vote couldn't be bothered to vote. So I get a lot of people that say, oh, well, you know, it's the people that voted for these same people over again that are the problem. Is it though? Is it? Because the people that voted for the people only got about 15% of the total vote. And that's a problem, because 15% of the registered voters voted for these people. And I'm going to say allegedly, because the elections were all jacked up back, left, right, and forward. Okay. But still, that's it. 15% decided for 100%. And we're just talking about the people registered to vote, not the people that aren't registered to vote. You know what I'm saying? And this is a serious, serious issue. And the crime and the violence, it continues. Because what else could it do but continue? That's really all it could do. Because when you don't actually address the laws, nothing will get done. When these people allegedly, okay, get back into office, which there's the question of the legitimacy there, because the legitimacy of the elections just is very much so in question, which is a whole separate video. I don't know if you guys have been following the saga on my Facebook of what we've been dealing with the Board of Elections, but according to the Board of Elections, the way that everything is set up, you can basically kiss confidence in the elections goodbye, which most people already have. All I want to do is make sure that we can restore the concept of election integrity. But, you know, hey, that's just me thinking like somebody actually cares, and we should actually get stuff done. Ah, you guys, it's very sad and disappointing what we have to continue to go through, because too many people, whether you think the election was good or bad or right or wrong or legitimate or not legitimate or whatever the case is, the fact is far too many people voted these same people again. So is it a lack of education that makes them vote for these people? Or is it the fact that they think that it's a good idea? Because that makes me question, do they even know that these people are responsible for killing their grandparents in the nursing homes over the last couple of years? Do they know that these people are responsible for making it so you can't have a gasoline car after 2035? Do they know that they're responsible for raising RG&E twice this year? Do they know that they're responsible for literally all that pains them? I mean, hey, you know, but when a 12-year-old gets murdered, people come out and say, hey, something needs to be done. But there are things that we can do. But nobody's willing to stand up and demand the people that are able to do them get it done. Let's see. Yeah, they basically have declared war on law-abiding citizens, Ryan. You're right. Let's see. Dave says, the city and all the elected officials won't even say that there's a gang problem. That's the truth. That is the whole truth. Let's see. Teresa says, Kathy Hochul and her crew are about visual, not substance. It's so true. So sad. And now we're going to be dealing with this again. I just don't know what's going to become of our communities, our people, everything. It's crazy. Let's see. You play too much, Teresa. Yeah, it is questionable. It is questionable. Do we know what's going to happen over these next couple of years? No. Are we going to have to do everything that we can to hold these people accountable? Absolutely. Do I have any other suggestions on what can be done so that we can avoid stuff like this 12-year-old boy being shot, yeah, hug somebody. Tell them you care. Listen to them and their issues. Because a lot of people just feel like they don't have anybody to fellowship with. As you know, we've largely turned away from the church and stuff like that in the last 2 generations. And people don't really have whole households anymore. So they don't have 2 parents, or in some case, they don't have any parents to actually, commiserate with, or brothers or sisters, or anybody that they feel that they can talk to. So that's an important thing. But more so overall, aside from that, we can hold our elected officials accountable. That's what we can do. We can start going to the public safety meetings in your neighborhood or in your community. You can start going to city council or school board. I know these things are boring and stuff like that, but they're things that need to be done, because it's very clear that the people that are in these positions that are supposed to be representing us are not getting us the information that we need to know what's actually going on and what's being done. So we need to make sure that we're getting that information. So if that means that it's up to us to have to start going to these things, people are going to have to get off their ass and they're going to have to start going to these meetings and stuff. So it's that simple. It's that simple. And we've got to start letting people know which branches of government are responsible for what. But I got something, we're going to do something about that. So we'll look into that. But I care so much for our community and for our city and our state. I just can't stand the way we're going or the way our country is going. And to see these people stand up yesterday, like they did, about this 12-year-old that got shot, Lord bless his soul. I don't know whether he was doing some stuff that he had no business doing, which is unfortunately highly likely in this period of time in our community. It's sad to say the truth, but it's true. The younger and younger youth are falling into these gangs because, again, like I said earlier, they don't really have anybody. So that's a big thing. No more team sports. There are barely any teams out there, so they don't have that. After school programs are slashed. And those are things that we could definitely really work on. More after school activities, more outreach from churches. Hell, people going to church. Can people start going to church? Nah, I don't really care. Pick your religion, as long as it's not like Satanism, because they're not really a religion. They're more like a philosophy, and it's really crazy, but that's a whole separate conversation. Aside from that, most other religions are pretty much above board, doing to others as you would have them do to you, so forth and so on. Be nice, keep up your neighborhood, your community, and all that goodness. People need to get back to Jesus. They need to get back to the Lord. They need to get back to Allah or whatever, Muhammad, whoever you believe in. Okay, because y'all need to believe in something, because right now, very much so appears that too many people don't believe in anything, and that lack of actual faith in a righteous way forward is a large hindrance to I'd say our nation at this point, and we really need to discuss that, but that's for a whole nother video. Tell somebody you love them. Tell your friends that you care. Listen to people, and stand up to your politicians and elected officials, and make sure that they know who you are. Make sure that you're making phone calls, sending them letters, sending them emails, going to stop by for a visit, all of the things that need to be done to make sure that we're holding these people accountable. Ask them what their jobs actually are. Ask a city council person what their job actually is, what it entails. Ask a county ledge person what their job is, what it entails. Ask an assembly person, a senator, and so on. Ask. Look it up on the internet, because we need to know who's in charge of what, and we need to start holding them accountable. Y'all be blessed. Be well. I'll catch you later.